Spiritual Practices Part 4. So we already understand that the need for spiritual practices is found in assisting one in attaining enlightenment, to assist one in obtaining pure mind. Spiritual practices are tools that assist one in unlearning, unconditioning, and unattaching. They help give clarity to the exploring, questioning, and observing process. They also serve to help steer one away from the delusions, the distress, and the suffering, the foolishness, the indulgences, and defilements, all of which are disturbances and distractions that sidetrack one from exploring the spiritual path. Beyond all this, spiritual practices have no other purpose or function. They don't make you morally or ethically or spiritually superior. They simply assist and facilitate your exploration on the spiritual path. None of them have absolutely anything to do with worship. And this is why religions call spirituality witchcraft, sorcery, or works of the devil. Because you are exploring and finding out for yourself. And this is definitely something they do not want or encourage. What they want is obedience and worship. Spiritual practices related to worship are corrupted spiritual practices. In this dream called life, we possess consciousness to fluidly question, explore, and observe, not to plant our feet and solidify so that we may worship something. Humanity needs to get out of this whole worship mentality, because truly it is evil, based on a lie. And this goes to worshiping anything, not just God. Sexual partners, money, material objects. Hate to say it, but all spiritual practices and teachings related to worship are truly evil religions. And that's what gives them the distinction of being a religion. They are clearly no longer spirituality. There is no exploring, questioning, and observing in religion. As far as religion is concerned, it has explored, questioned, and observed, and has found a final answer, a final explanation. And you must believe it. You are implored to believe it. You are offered rewards to believe it. You are threatened with punishment for not believing it. And believing it entails worship and obedience. Accept what you're told without question, because it says so in a book. Many do not think so, but these are truly the hallmarks of evil. What could best be accurately described as the work of the devil, to control your mind, cloud your mind, and steer you away from exploring the spiritual path, lest you become free from obedience and worship. Anything that asks you to stop exploring, questioning, and observing, to stop using your imagination, and to bow down to someone else's imagination is evil itself. So what are some spiritual practices that can be used for their intended purposes? What can we do to better unlearn, uncondition, and unattach? Spiritual practice. Avoid the spotlight, stay behind the scenes. Maintain some self-mystery. We do not gain anything beneficial by letting everyone know everything we do and when we do it. It's a common social practice to exchange with other people all of our business. People often are excited by this activity, airing their dirty laundry, recalling their history in fine detail, and divulging all their thoughts and plans for the future. People make a big show out of it. There's even a market devoted to it. Gossip shows, reality TV, supermarket tabloids, and live netcams, all parading and showboating people's personal lives. And people can't get enough of it. They eat it up with a spoon. They even go so far as to provide make-believe personal business for people to snoop in. The soap opera is the perfect example of this. People just can't get enough of other people's business. This allows people to live vicariously through strangers that they admire and feel represent themselves. It also allows people to follow up on the people they love to hate. All of this, in turn, creates a cesspool. People on the spiritual path do not need all these distractions and complications. Fame is truly toxic. The more people that know you, the less personal power you possess. But it also works the other way. The less people that know you, the more personal power you possess. Mystery always fosters operating freely. Mystery is the context of fluidness. So stop being so available. Do not be at anyone's beck and call. There should be no one that knows where you are and what you're doing every second of every day. So maintain some self-mystery. Avoid being labeled and tied down in people's thoughts. Spiritual practice. Drop all expectations. The only thing expectations lead to is disappointment. You don't need expectations to survive, you don't need expectations to function, and you don't need expectations to thrive and be a success. All one must do is to mindfully deal with things as they are, to mindfully handle what comes and goes with discipline, clarity, and due diligence. Whatever will be, will be. Mindful diligence is what helps steer circumstance and condition unto good. So having expectations is foolishly shouldering an unnecessary burden, one that ultimately leads to disappointment. Without thought, be self-sufficient. Stop relying on other people. And some will say, well, we need to work with others, so we must place expectations in other people. If you want something done right, you do it yourself. This in itself will attract other people who will follow your example. The most beneficial disciplines and works are those that are done without expectations. Spiritual practice. Take full responsibility. Stop putting the responsibility into a scientific explanation or in the hands of an unknowable God. You take responsibility because it's all you. Everything is part of a oneness, a wholeness, and there is no separation. There is a multitude of points of perception, but all these seemingly separate points of perception are simply other versions of you. At their core, all separated selves are raw awareness. This is what we all share in common. The only thing that differs is a multitude of conditions that points of perception find themselves in. attachment to these conditions is what leads a point of perception into the delusion of a separate identity. Just like 100 cups of water taken from an ocean. The water is one. This is its nature, even though it has now been separated into cups. So then the cups are now taken as the water's identity. But we know that a cup is not what makes water water. Energy, consciousness, the fabric of everything is the same way. You are a part of it all, and all of it is a part of you. Anything manifested is a manifestation of consciousness, and you are part of this consciousness. So anything within consciousness is consciousness's responsibility. Why take responsibility? Well, this ties into the next spiritual practice. Govern the internal, govern the external. The majority of people are mostly concerned with what's going on the external. The internal is taken for granted, treated as an inconsequential default position. What is overlooked is that the explorations and discoveries and disciplines of the internal will lead to a more disciplined, pure, harmonious external. As it is on the inside, so shall it be on the outside. Relieve yourself of suffering, and then you shall be in a position to help relieve others of suffering. Cure and purify your own mind. Then you will be able to cure and purify the world. But most people believe that this is impossible, which ties into the next spiritual practice. Suspend all beliefs. The only real function that beliefs tangibly serve is to help accomplish self-oriented goals. Some New Age gurus have referred to it as the power and magic of believing. But there really is no power and magic to it. It's quite simple. We believe something strongly, such as the ability to climb a high mountain, and this serves as the fuel for motivation and action to accomplish the goal. But beyond this, belief serves no other purpose other than limiting us, because it works the other way also. We believe something strongly, such as the inability to climb a high mountain, and this serves as the doubt that depletes motivation and action. More often than not, beliefs are used for the latter, limiting ourselves with doubt. So one would be better to avoid beliefs altogether, because one doesn't need belief to fuel motivation and action to accomplish goals. All one needs is a clear mind to meet the challenges of life as they are. If one needs to move a heavy boulder from point A to point B, one could use belief for fuel, but it seems the only real reason one would need to use belief is to counteract doubt. But if one removes both belief and doubt, and simply moves the boulder, knowing that the boulder can be moved, the task gets accomplished just the same, without any fuss or muss. If we know, there is no need for belief or doubt. Yet if we believe or doubt, we are lacking in knowing. So it is better to suspend all beliefs when it comes to our inward exploration, because this exploration requires a clear mind, and from this arises the knowing that is fostered through empirical experience. Since this is not a material medium, it is very easy to doubt, second guess, or disbelieve, and this only hinders our exploration and progress. So better to suspend